Broadcasting live from our studio in Boston, Solutions Review is proud to showcase Infragistics in the Solution Spotlight, a unique online event for industry professionals.
I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review, and welcome to the Solutions Spotlight featuring Infragistics and focused on how embedded analytics empowers organizations for digital transformation. In a recent article in Harvard Business Review, the global management consulting company McKinsey set about measuring the hard value of digital transformation. What they discovered is quite interesting. Nearly 90% of large companies have a digital and AI transformation underway, and those digital leaders are creating over twice as much shareholder value than laggards, often by creating value that's hard to copy. So today, we're very happy to offer you a demonstration of the Infragistics Reveal Embedded Analytics tool. We've been covering Infragistics for a long time now, and what you will see today is an elegant solution with a polished UX, interactions, theming, and self-service. And there is no one better we could have as a guest to walk you through this presentation than Jason Barris, Senior Vice President of Developer Tools at Infragistics. Jason, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Doug.
Well, we're pretty excited about these sorts of events because we get to see under the hood of some of the hottest technology. We've had you on before, and it's always been incredibly well received by our audience. So I'm going to want to get out of the way as soon as possible and really let you dive in. But before we do that, I will set everybody's expectations that we do want to take some questions and do a Q&A with Jason at the end after he's gone through his presentation. But otherwise, Jason, I'm going to hand it over to you. We have a lot to cover, and I'm looking forward to it. But again, any questions you have, bring them on in. I'll take them here, and I'll then hook up with Jason at the end of his presentation, and we'll go through the Q&A together. But Jason, for now, take it away.
Cool. Thank you very much, Doug. I appreciate that. So yes, thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll be talking about digital transformation with embedded BI and analytics, which is a very hot topic. Probably, if you haven't gone there yet, something you've discussed with your team members, with your executives, with your managers, et cetera, because it is become a very hot topic over the last several years. So again, my name is Jason Barris. I'm a senior VP here at Infragistics. My email is jasonb@infragistics.com. And I've been with the company for a very long time. I started over 20 years ago now, and I've seen the progression of the developer tools space, the BI space, the digital workplace collaboration space that puts us to where we are today, which, as Doug mentioned, a very exciting time for digital transformation, AI transformation, and analytics, and specifically embedded analytics is a big piece of this. Today, we'll be talking about Reveal, which is our embedded analytics product. And in previous webinars we've done with Solutions Review, we've talked about Reveal along with our low code tool. But today, we're really just going to focus on how you can achieve something really cool with Reveal. So Infragistics is well over 30 years old now. We're built on the back of happy customers. So we've never taken funding. We've always just built products that people love, and that's how we succeed. So our goal is to really deliver tooling, SDKs, software that make your customers more successful and make you more successful. So our tagline is to create simplicity, beauty, and happiness in the world, one app at a time. And that's really the goal with the tool like Reveal, which you'll see today. And you can see the progression of capabilities and technologies over the last 20 some years. But Reveal in the form that you're going to see today was released in 2019. It came from a product that we had in the market called Report Plus. Report Plus was a native iPad, iOS targeted BI tool. And because of lots of customer feedback and just being in the market for a bunch of years, you told us that you would like this to work in the web. You would like it to work in the desktop. You don't want to be just held back by needing an iPad. So that's really what we're going to talk about today in terms of product. We're located all over the world. Our headquarters is in Cranberry, New Jersey, but we have sales, support, and marketing in London, Tokyo, India, Uruguay, Bulgaria. So wherever you're at, we're at as well. In fact, it was really cool this morning. I was on a call with a Reveal prospect, and their development team's in Uruguay. Well, so is ours for Reveal. So they're very close in proximity, and it does create that feeling that you can get support no matter where you're at and what time zone you're in across the globe. So let's go ahead and get started and talk about digital transformation. So digital transformation is the process of integrating digital technologies into all aspects of a business to fundamentally change how it operates and delivers value to customers. Now, when digital transformation, this concept first came out, many people just said, oh, we need to redo our website. Oh, we need to add like a chatbot on the homepage or whatever. Digital transformation is really an end-to-end digital change, but the hard part is the cultural change that goes along with it. I can attest to that. When you build software, you have software development teams that are used to doing things the old way. Now we need to digitally transform how we do continuous delivery and continuous integration. The technology is not the issue. It's the culture that needs to change. You have a sales team, and your sales team now has all of these new tools to see who's on your website, how lead flow is coming in, how to attribute a lead to a download to a sale. It's not necessarily the tool issue. It's transforming your team to this new culture. And that's when we talk about embedded BI. How can we take something like data that we've had for years hidden in databases and other places in our enterprise, and then use that to culturally change to make better business decisions faster? Or how can we digitally transform the software that we deliver to the market with something very powerful like embedded BI, so then our customers can make faster, better business decisions? So you remove that variable of the loudest person in the room, who we all know necessarily isn't the right answer winning those arguments, because now with BI, we have data. So I put together 5 top reasons why you should think about looking at embedded BI as the cornerstone or the driver for your digital transformation if you haven't already. The number one reason, no doubt, is improved decision making. So in each one of these slides, the next few slides, I have a statistic that comes from different sources, which talks to the necessity of the driver for this type of digital transformation. So Reveal, we actually do a survey every year. It's gotten to be quite large. We're on our 4th or 5th year. And one of the results of the survey was the ability to make informed business decisions is the primary reason for 75% of survey respondents to use embedded analytics. So I want to be able to make decisions in context, in place, while I'm looking at other things in my applications that I use. Well, how do you do that? You don't do that by clicking over to another website, to Power BI, remembering what to search for, then having to go back to your other application. That click tax is terrible. Embedded BI removes it. So the ability to access real-time data, the ability to visualize data instead of data in lots of data grids, really drives those data-driven decisions, which is the number one reason, which is enhanced decision-making. Or I'm sorry, improved decision-making. Number 2 is the enhanced user experience. So 61% of organizations still use 4 or more BI platforms. Task and context switching, losing as much as 40% of their productivity. This is the biggest time killer across every enterprise today. And while it does have to do with BI platforms, it has to do with everything. Right now, you have to remember to go into do not disturb mode to actually think and get time to yourself where you don't lose that productivity. We have inputs coming in from Teams, from Zoom, from Slack, from WhatsApp, emails come in. So in the past, we could try to at least maintain a level of focus, but today people really want real-time answers, and they want to have that real-time communication with you. So all of these tools that, especially in the post-COVID era, have helped us drive business, they also help us lose productivity. So if you do have embedded BI in your applications, not only do you have a beautiful, intuitive user interface, you can do self-service analytics. So like, I need some data. I'm looking at all the other things that I need to do my job. Let me go ahead and create a new dashboard right here in place, save it, and now that's available to me. I can even share it with my users. So that user experience, which really productivity is, it kills us with all of the context and task switching, is really a key driver in this type of a digital transformation. And then when you look at the majority of customers being ISVs, independent software vendors, who build software, who then sell that software to others, how do you maintain competitive differentiation from your competitors? So when we talked about user experience, maybe this started in 2011, 2012, maybe 2010, around that time frame. The big talk was a better user experience is a competitive differentiator. That's the truth. If customer or prospect A looks at something that's legacy and old looking, and then they look at your software, which might be beautiful, have a modern experience, just makes sense, and it might not have all the features as software A, they still may go with you, because user experience is a competitive differentiator, and so is something like embedded BI. So I need to upgrade an application. Well, let's see, how can we upgrade an application to our customers? Hey, you know what? Dashboards, modern dashboarding and reporting is a great way to do that. And that's where embedded BI comes into play. So firms with advanced insight-driven business capabilities are 8.5 times more likely to grow annual revenue by 20% or more. So you're almost 10 times likelier to grow by 20%. And who doesn't want to grow by 20%? A lot of companies still startup mode. You're trying to get that growth. Well, this is where you can make a big difference. So that's from a recent Forrester survey around competitive differentiation and insights, business-driven insights in applications. Number 4, increase adoption and usage. So from Gartner, nearly 50% of 400 executives surveyed reported that self-service data and analytics was a key driver of increased employee productivity. So when you look at your employees, and now we're not in the office anymore, right? Many people are working remote. You don't see the impact of this task switching tax. But if you were in the office, you would notice people have 4 monitors. They're all over the place. You're constantly moving between applications. Oh, great. We have BI now, but it's in another app. I always have to go to this other app. I lose focus, lose productivity. So I'm not going to use that BI tool. It's a pain. It just doesn't help me do my job because it's hard to use and hard to get to. So seamless integration in product analytics and simplified data management really does increase adoption and usage of your products with embedded BI. And this is critical. It's just like, you spend all this money on tools, but no one uses them. How do we know they're not using them? Well, you're going to know because you're not driving productivity with better decision-making with your embedded analytics. At Infragistics, it's become part of our culture. Dashboards are the centerpiece of discussions. Now, it doesn't mean that that's where the discussion ends. Anecdotal and experience and that, customer touch is critical to making any key business decision. But having data and discussing data is how you really drive the business. And that's all about embedded analytics. And then number 5, to finish on our top 5 reasons, streamlined operations and cost efficiency. 39% of respondents in the Reveal survey say that their organization is using embedded analytics to monitor and improve productivity. Now, when I read this, I was like, monitor and improve productivity. Does that mean they're watching us? No, that doesn't mean they're watching you. They're not monitoring you. What they're doing is that when you're in meetings and you start making this cultural change to digitally transform for embedded analytics, you're going to start using data in discussions. It becomes the fluent language of your organization, of your enterprise. So having automated reports and data analysis, reducing that time and cost of saying, hey, IT, can you create a report for me? And then it goes on their backlog, and then you might get it a week later or a month later. All of this embedded analytics capability just drives productivity and improves how those discussions happen. So it's funny, we just had a meeting this morning. It's a monthly meeting where we go through all the metrics for individual products, and you're looking at dashboards that are built in Reveal to discuss what's going on with the business. How can we improve? Oh, there was a dip here. What happened? And so you're using dashboards to discuss what is making the business successful and then how we can improve the business over time. And all this is because you can have data in context, in place to make decisions for you, for your organization, or your customers when you are building software for them. So what does this really look like? This is a Deloitte survey. And of course, green is good and gray is bad. But 61% of organizations with less strong analytics cultures had 22% significantly exceeded business goals in the past 12 months. So 61% with less strong only exceeded goals by 22%. However, on the other side of the chart, 39% of companies that had really strong analytics cultures, it was more than double. So they were at 48% of exceeding business goals. This only makes sense. Think about how you used to make decisions before you had a dashboard, which showed you really what was happening with the business. It was gut feeling. It was what I remembered from looking at a report the other day. Now with embedded analytics, you can make these decisions in context, in place, and become part of that 48%, which significantly exceeds business goals. And then we look at this correlation. So this is great. So on the left-hand side, we've got 70% of companies at which a specific analytics or innovation team is responsible for analytics. So they exceeded their goals 70% of the time. So they had like this team, and this is the BI, the data science team, and they exceeded goals 70% of the time. 57% of companies were key members of teams of business units exceeded goals. So it's a huge dip. So let's say we have marketing, sales, and IT, and there's only a couple people in there that have access to data, that are looking at analytics, and decision-making is kind of up to them. The data isn't shared. Well, let's switch to the other side of the graph here. At 82% of companies exceed goals when all of the employees have access to data and can drive business decisions. That is huge. And that's the culture change. It takes time, but you have to start somewhere. The results are proven and they're good. So when you think about having a few people having access to data to make decisions to everyone, it's like a 30% increase in goal in exceeding goals. And it just makes sense. You might have someone who's, 3 levels down from a vice president of marketing who's focused on a specific product area doing search engine optimization. But better decisions don't get made unless that SEO data is shared all the way up and down to the people that report to that person, all the way up to the CEO, because the discussions happen. And that's really where embedded analytics plays a huge part. So today's product focus, we're going to talk about Reveal, which is our embedded BI product. And Reveal really can be the cornerstone of a digital transformation strategy for your organization or your customers. And this is where Reveal has found great success. So I would say maybe not 100%, but the majority of Reveal's customers are looking at Reveal to drive a modern self-service reporting solution into their software or their customers, or the software they build for customers, to drive that digital transformation story. So Reveal gives you a full-featured self-service dashboard and modern reporting solution. It really promotes data-driven decision-making. It has a beautiful user experience. And I hate to say we don't win every prospect that comes in, but even prospects that decide that Reveal isn't a fit for them for whatever reason, they always tell us it's the best looking and easiest to use BI solution that they've looked at in the market. And then, of course, you are trying to sell software, right? So you build software that you drive out to the market. What better way to drive your own customer adoption, license sales, new seat sales, renewal sales with higher customer satisfaction with embedded BI. So this is an easy way to take your current applications and just blow out what you can deliver to your software, to your customers. And the great thing about Reveal is we've thought about everything. So it works on Node.js, .NET Core, and Java for your backends. And on the front end, it's JavaScript. So it works in React, Angular, Vue, Blazor. We have a Cold Fusion customer. We've got just HTML customers. Whatever, Tailwind, whatever you're using, Reveal will work in your system. And the beautiful thing is because it's embedded, it's within the context of your existing infrastructure, your existing security context. Everything you already do, Reveal can take advantage of because it's literally an embedded SDK. There's a client SDK and a server SDK, and those are embedded into your solution. So I kind of jumped ahead here, but this is how Reveal actually works. It's an SDK. It's not a SaaS app. So you don't log into Reveal and then you're using some hosted experience. You're actually implementing this in your own application, which is great because it gives you total control. It gives you total control over the data connectivity, the app experience. We have a rich API on both the client and the server that lets you customize what you deliver to your end users. The great thing is there's no per user or per server fee. You pay one price and that's it. When you think about Power BI has cloud fees, per user fees, the Azure tax of how many times you're actually hitting the Azure server. Your price goes up to $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 very quickly for a lot of these hosted solutions. And then you don't really need all of those features. You just need dashboards. You just need the ability to do self-service BI. You don't need 1,000 other features. But worse than all that, you don't want that task switching task. So many solutions out there are SaaS-based or hybrid solutions where you've got to go from one to the other experience, or they're hosting your data. You want to control your data. So these are all the things that you have to think about when you look at BI solutions. And that's where Reveal finds a unique place in the market in terms of being an embedded SDK. So one point that I didn't highlight was deployment. Because we are an SDK, you can deploy this to any server, be it Azure, AWS, Oracle, Linux, Windows. It doesn't matter. It's just whatever container technology you're using, Kubernetes, Docker, or just straight up app services or on-prem. We don't care. Because we do live in the context of your app, we just work however your app will work. So let's get into a demo, my favorite part. I put together a pretty cool demo too with a little help from some great designers and other folks at Infragistics on the Reveal team, but I'm going to minimize my screen and I'm going to walk through a sample application called Acme Analytics. Acme Analytics is built 100% using Reveal. Of course, there's a left-hand menu and some other stuff, but I actually built the entire shell and probably about 60% or 70% of this app in our App Builder product, which is our low-code tool I mentioned earlier. And then I took it to the next level with some of the Reveal capabilities. So this is a fictitious company, Acme. This is their analytics app. And the nice thing about everything you see here is that this is how Reveal could fit into your own application. So you might have an application that all of your end users or something that you sell into the market, and you're looking at data, you're looking at customer information, you're linking over to Salesforce, whatever the case may be. But in this case, I built out a nice homepage. My homepage has some KPIs across the top. I have a dashboard here, which is showing me some customer overview data. Now, a unique thing about Reveal, of course, is you can customize how dashboards are presented. So in this case, I didn't want the dashboard header. I don't want to edit this dashboard. It's just like a homepage view, but I still get all of the Reveal capabilities. So for example, I have a visualization here for customer distribution. I want to maximize this, maybe look at it a little better. I can hover over different countries and look at what the underlying data might be. I can switch between the underlying data and the map that I was looking at itself. If I go and I minimize this back to my dashboard, I can go and check out some other things, maybe look at some drill down information on revenue type by customer. So this is my fixed line revenue in the Philippines. And it's just a simple, beautiful user experience for interacting with a dashboard. And again, this is a read-only view. You control the experience. You can control every aspect of it. Maybe you don't want them to maximize. You can get rid of the button. Maybe you don't want them to switch to the underlying data. You can get rid of that button. Reveal as an SDK. All of these APIs are available to you in the SDK. On the right-hand side, I have a list of all of my recent dashboards. So this is an Angular app. This is just an Angular list from our Ignite UI product. I have a thumbnail of my dashboards, and maybe I just want to go check out our CFO's daily metrics report, and then I jump right into a full screen dashboard view. So the reveal view itself is everything that you see in the white background. That's the dashboard view. Everything else is my application, right? So this would how it would fit right into your application. But maybe in your app, you only want a single visualization. You can do that as well. Now, the nice thing is I kind of highlighted some of the nice features in tool tips that you saw earlier. So you're always going to get additional data. If you have something like date time data, you can always do drill downs. So there's a hierarchical display of like year, month, day, or year, quarter, month. However, we can determine automatically, you don't have to write any code or do anything special to do this. We'll automatically build out these hierarchies for you. And even something like a tree or a tree map. These are automatically built-in hierarchies that you would expect in a control like this. Now, the nice thing is with permissions that you set in control, let's say I want to do a little bit more with this dashboard. If I go to the overflow, I have an edit button. So I can jump right into edit mode. And now any one of these individual visualizations, I can jump into the visualization editor. So maybe let's say we had sales by year and this was great, but I didn't really want net sales. I wanted net profit. So I'm going to drag net profit in. I'm going to still leave by year, and I'm going to change the title here to net profit, like so. Profit, little trouble spelling this this morning. And I'm going to check the box, and then I'm going to check the box again. And now this dashboard's updated. So doing things like editing, self-service is that simple. You have a lot of options and control over what you want your users to experience, but out of the box, all of that is available to you. So edit mode, super easy. Refresh, exporting. What export options do I have? I can do image, PowerPoint, PDF, Excel. So let's go ahead and export this guy to Excel. I have a nice little dialog here. I can select and deselect individual sheets that would get exported. I can change what a sheet might say. Let's just go ahead and export this by default. I'll open up my CFO daily report. And what we do for each visualization, we generate the table, but also a native Excel visualization. So this is not just a screenshot. This is actually a chart in Excel. Why do we do that? Well, maybe you want to take this and then use it in PowerPoint. Maybe you want to paste it in an email or something like that. It's just a nice delighter for your customers that it's more than just a boring CSV. It's an actual Excel sheet with tables, with data, with charts. So you get that experience with Reveal. Now, in this case, I have a little flyout menu here, which looks similar to my homepage, but it has all of my other visualizations that are available to me. So if I go ahead and I click, here's my campaigns dashboard. Here's again my CFO daily report, customer order analysis. This is a nice report because I have a filter. So right now I'm looking at Elfke. That's my customer ID. Let's go ahead and look at a route, and I'll hit apply. And now the data gets refreshed just for this particular customer. Now, this is pretty cool. I like how this works, but I also have another table, like a tabular report, which shows all of my customers. Now, what I really want to do is be able to click on a customer and then automatically filter out that report. So kind of have this master detail scenario. Well, Reveal has this concept called dashboard linking. So what you'll notice here is this link icon. I have an option to open invoices for Ocean, which happens to be the row that I'm on. So if I open that, this is another report with a pivot grid, which has, again, more drill downs and more feature capabilities that I can do for this particular record or particular visualization. But I also want to just link over to my customer order analysis. So let's go back one step here, and I'm going to go and edit this visualization. So let's click edit. We have a very neat feature called dashboard linking. And there's a couple things you can do with dashboard linking. You can link to another dashboard with a parameter. You can open up any arbitrary web page, like one of the demos we have is taking a customer ID and opening it up in Salesforce or your CRM system. So in this case, I want to do a new link, and I want to pass this over to that customer order analysis dashboard. Both dashboards have the same customer ID field. So I'm just going to link on that particular field, and I'm going to create the link. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to click save again. So now let's go back to my customers grid, and you'll notice now I have open customer order analysis. So if I click it, now I've linked over to that dashboard, and I'm right on the Ernch customer ID. If I go back, let's take a look at Goral here, click this, open up my customer order analysis, and here I am on Goral with detailed data. So imagine being in a meeting with the sales team and you're talking about customers, and you've got your customer list in Reveal, and you can just jump right into a detailed dashboard, or you can jump right into maybe their Salesforce record directly from the dashboard. So extremely powerful what you can do. And you'll notice that I've added some custom buttons here. So by default, out of the box, what Reveal gives you is edit, refresh, all of your export options, and a save as. Well, I want to schedule an email. I have an API in the back end that allows that. I want to add this to favorites. I've written some code to track favorites. Maybe start a chat in Teams, or start a chat in Slack, or open a new window. These are all custom buttons. So remember, we're an SDK. We're a developer tool. So we allow you to customize this level of experience, even on menus, on toolbars, whatever. You have a lot of control. Now, let's say I want to do a new dashboard. I have a new dashboard button. So here I am at the new dashboard screen. So I'm going to hide this menu on the left. I'm going to click plus visualization. Now I have a few options here for data sources that are available to me. All of this is controlled by whatever security you have on the server, but I'm allowed to see all this good stuff. So let's go to current orders. I can select this guy. I'm directly into the dashboard designer. Let's go ahead and do by customer ID. And what I'll do is I'll drag order ID to values. Now this automatically did a sum. I'm going to click it. I want to change it to a count of rows. I'll update that field, and I'm going to say customer orders like that. Let's go to settings. I'm going to get rid of order ID here. I don't need the legend. I can also change the color if I'd like. This is all part of my custom theme. So theming and branding are all part of this. And if I wanted to, I could go crazy and do something like, let's add a category for country. This is not going to look good. There's a lot of countries. You'll see here if I go back and show my legend. Well, it didn't show up anyway, but we kind of run out of room up there. But if I maybe change this over to a stacked chart, will it look better? Oh, maybe a little bit better, but really having that as a category isn't my goal. So I'm going to leave it just like that. But I will highlight that we do ship with about 30 different chart types. The nice thing is we allow custom chart types. So any type of chart that you want to add, like you have a domain specific chart, maybe a very special chart that you've used for years and built up, you can use it in Reveal just like any other visualization. So let's go ahead. I'll get rid of this. Let's change our color to blue, and I'm going to check the box. And now I start to create my dashboard. I'm going to use the same data set here. So let's duplicate this guy. Let's go back here. I want to edit this, and I'm going to change this from a stacked column to something cooler like a map. So for the map, we ship with a bunch of different map options. Let's do world countries. And the location is not going to be the customer ID. It's going to be the ship country. So now I have the count of orders shipped to each country. So I'm going to say orders shipped by country. And that looks cool to me. I'm going to check that box. And now I want to do another visualization, but I don't want to use the same data. So I'm going to click this again. And I want to show all of our orders for the last 3 years. And this will be probably a very similar dashboard, but let's see who sold the most by maybe by title. So let's do that. And we'll do order ID, or actually, let's see freight. So sales reps seem to have sold the most orders and cost the most freight. And we'll say by freight. So check the box. Now I've got several visualizations. I'm going to change this, and I'm going to call this customer freight analysis. And we'll do 2 just to make sure I don't have another one in there. I check the box, and now that is saved. So if we look here in our list, we'll see our customer freight analysis in our list somewhere. I'm having trouble seeing today, but that's basically as easy as it is to create a brand new dashboard. So you're just doing simple drag and drop. Anyone can pick this up. We've made it super easy to approach and do something like that. But let's say you don't want your users to create dashboards from scratch. We have other options too. So this is an example of every visualization from every dashboard on my server. So you can see I have shipments and cost from the dashboard called Logistics by Customer. If I scroll down, I've got ROI from my crypto portfolio dashboard. If I look at average freight by customer from first dashboard. So let's go ahead and just select some of these guys. Well, that one's not going to work for us. Let's go ahead and remove that. Let's go orders by shipper. Maybe there's an issue with my map. Oh, isn't that strange? You know, this is what happens in live demos. It doesn't matter how many times you do something beforehand, you're going to run into something in a live demo. So I needed a little refresh there. Again, my code error probably. So let's go ahead and create a quick dashboard. So I've got my average CPC by territory. Let's take a look at expense breakdown from the CFO daily dashboard. And let's look at my current value from my crypto portfolio. So I've got a few visualizations here. I'm going to go ahead and change the name to this called, sample generated dashboard, like so. Hit enter. Now when I hit the save button, that just saved off to my server. So if I go back to my dashboards, I'll see it in my list down here. So we'll see our sample generated dashboard. So you can see here, I must have had an error in one of my visualizations there. But the idea is, if your users don't want to create dashboards using the editor, you can provide an experience for them where it's simple click and load to get dashboards created, which is pretty incredible. You can almost look at this as your visualization catalog. And then finally, what I want to highlight is another really cool feature. So this is just a combo box. This combo box is an Angular combo. It has a list of all of my customers. So I'm going to select a customer, and it's going to load up the dashboard for this customer information. Now, Reveal has filtering, which we saw on my order analysis dashboard. So I can do a level of filtering. But what I want to do is pass a variable into my dashboard, which is essentially creating a custom query on the back end to load just data for this particular user. And that's what this is demonstrating, is you don't have to depend on just the features of Reveal. We have an API that allows you to pass context in from the client to the server to dynamically load data to your users. So that's an overview of a beautifully designed and styled, digitally transformed application. How much work is it to really get Reveal going in your app? So what I want to show you next is how easy it is really to get going. I've got a couple HTML files here. And this is, all of this stuff is in our docs on our website. It's so easy to get going for trying this out on your own. We even have a sample server up on the web, which you can start hitting right away for delivering dashboards. But I actually have my own server running at localhost 7006. So if I look at this, this is a simple Reveal server. I'm using a couple features of Reveal: authentication provider, data source provider, a user context provider. So I tell my server that I want to light it up with Reveal. So really, this is the server code that says, hey, web API or .NET Core server, I want to use these capabilities of Reveal. It's the same in Node, and it's going to be the same in Java. Now, the key really interface that you use on the back end is called the data source provider. The data source provider is where you can construct queries, you can construct parameterized execution for stored procedures, you can do table level permissions. Basically, it gives you full control over the code that gets executed to get data out of your back end. So in this case, I have a few lines of code. I'm telling this to use my Azure SQL database, and that's what we're going to do. So this is connected to Azure SQL, and I want to enable my database to build dashboards with Reveal. That's how easy it is to get going on the server. All told, you might have about 50 lines of code or less to get a server going with Reveal. Then on the client, I'm adding in my dependency here. So we have a JavaScript file on our CDN. You would download this and you would put it in your own application. But for ease of use and getting started, you can use our CDN. And all I want to do is load up the marketing dashboard that I have sitting on the server. So we have a load dashboard method. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to open this up in the browser. And what you're going to see is it just loads up my marketing dashboard. I didn't have to do any crazy code to, get a GUID or something on the client, which would force the server to know what I'm allowed to do. All that's happening within the context of my app. This is my application. I already know who I am. I'm already allowed to see this data. So this popped up as the marketing dashboard. Now, the great thing is I have all the features and capabilities that we saw already in the really digitally transformed demo. So this is a full screen dashboard. I've got edit, refresh, export. If I click edit, now I'm in the dashboard editor. I can pick an item here, jump right into edit mode. Let's get rid of a few of these guys. In fact, let's get rid of all of it. And let's do territory and let's do spend by territory. But I want my category to be the campaign ID. So now I have all my campaigns. Here's spend. This would look a lot better if it was a stacked chart this time. So let's make it a stacked column chart. And we're going to call this spend by territory campaign. Just like that. I check the box. I check the box. This is automatically saved on the server. I don't have to do anything. Now, let's say that I'm logged in as a person who's not allowed to automatically save on the server. There's an API that lets you determine where people save and how they save. Do you want to save as a file? Do you want to save to a database? It doesn't matter. Everything is API enabled for you. And in this particular dashboard, I've also enabled a date filter. So here I have a date range selection. I can pick the drop down to select different date options. This one's set for the last 365 days. I could do previous year, year to date, trailing 12. Let's just do all time. We'll click apply, and this updates the data. You'll notice this chart changed, right? So let's go back and let's maximize it. And now I see all of my data labels. Well, when it's smaller, it can't show all of that. There'll be too many collisions. So we just remove them. However, check out this cool feature. I maximize this guy. I have a little globe here. This globe has some statistical functions. So maybe I want to do a time series forecast, a linear regression. Let's do a time series forecast for 12 periods. I'm going to forecast based on all of my data what this is going to look like in the next 12 months. Now, because we tanked in the beginning and we were tanking at the end, those go into this statistical forecast. Let's say you don't like our statistical forecast. Maybe you already have a machine learning model that allows you to do this yourself. Great. We support Azure ML and BigQuery ML. So you can take data, push it up to a model, return that data back, and give whatever type of forecast, whatever your algorithm is, whatever AI you're using will perfectly work in those scenarios. And in this case, if I want to see what this data looks like, I can see and scroll down and see in the yellow, this is the forecasted data based on that particular forecast. So let's change this back to a nice spline chart, minimize it back. Let's change this again to go the last 365 days, apply, and you can see the chart is reset. Now, maybe I want to add a new visualization. Let's go to edit. I'll just click plus visualization. This is using a file up in the cloud. Let's do a revenue and profitability. We'll select this data and let's do by company gross margin. And there we go. It's as easy as that. GM by company. My box. And now when I scroll down, there's my visualization. Let's make it a little bit longer so I can see it better. And in fact, I didn't like the way this y-axis was displayed. Let's go back and edit this. I'm going to get rid of the legend, and on my value, I'm going to use something called large number formatting. Let's set this to auto. And now you can see my y-axis looks really nice. I'll click save on this, and I have a beautiful dashboard updated and saved that now I can share across my enterprise. So to get going with Reveal is just a few lines of code, both on the client and the server, and you can really start down this digital transformation. Simple. Just start deploying data to your users with read-only dashboards. And then when they get comfortable, incrementally let them edit dashboards or add their own visualizations. Or like I had in my digitally transformed example, create a builder where they can just build dashboards on the fly. And then eventually let them create dashboards from scratch. So it's not all at once. There's a phased rollout that you can architect, which enables users now to start making these in-context decisions with data, and then giving them more features and capabilities throughout the years forward. So with that, I'll end my demo. I'll jump right back into the slides, and I just want to highlight two things. First, Reveal really does enable that simple and beautiful user experience. So however you saw today, no matter what you think about BI, how you want to enable your users, it certainly is very easy to use, but it's also easy for your dev team to get going. So next steps, check us out at revealbi.io, email sales@infragistics.com. There's our phone number if folks still use the phone anymore. But we're available to talk to you about Reveal, to do demos and really discuss how you might use Reveal to take that next step to drive digital transformation in your organization or in your software. So I want to thank everyone again. Thanks, Doug. But if anyone has any questions to follow up, my email again is jasonb@infragistics.com. And we'll pass it back to Doug. Thank you.
Great job, Jason. Thank you. And I think I might have buried the lead when I introduced you, because you've been there for 20 years.
Yeah. Yes.
Which I think is great.
Yeah.
I think it's wonderful to see somebody who's been through the entire. And you started in product management, and you've worked all your way up now to where you are today. So you've seen this thing. This is your baby. I mean, you've been building this.
Yep.
Iteratively over a couple of decades.
Yeah.
It's while I have
you
and have that perspective, I mean, I love this. What I spoke about in the intro was this idea that 90% of large organizations now have a digital initiative, an AI initiative. Obviously, this AI tsunami is headed our way, and that has all kinds of implications. And I think a lot of people are in that kind of awe phase where they're just kind of staring into the abyss and wondering, okay, how I see all these things, these tools, these great solutions. People are pitching me a lot of different things. Can you boil it down for me and for them potentially on how to simplify and quiet your mind as you start to, deal with this onslaught of not only technology, but the data that is going to come from it? I mean, where should people really start to think about finding that value? I mean, how should they start?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is what I mentioned earlier is a cultural buy-in. So at Infragistics, if our CEO wasn't bought into this, it would have never taken off, right? So you do need to have a plan. Like, what is our plan for digital transformation? What is our plan for AI? Start very small, experiment, but you need that cultural buy-in. You need the CEO, all of your executives using it, and then in meetings, when others see that they're using it and finding success, then it'll push its way down. But the biggest recommendation I have is to start with an experiment. Start like even with something like Reveal. I mean, it has a huge benefit, but it's a very low impact to get started. I mean, you can get started very quickly and easily. AI is the same way. There's so many things coming at us with AI. Start with a small experiment. What would deliver value to either your organization or your customers, like real value, and start with something very small and then let it grow, get feedback. One of the things we've learned with Reveal, which is amazing, is, the Reveal customer is the product owner all the way up to the CTO, right? The guy who's driving technology at an organization or for that organization software. And they do look at it the right way. They're like, no, we're going to just allow read-only dashboards for the first year. We got to get the folks used to this. And we're going to still build reports on the back end. Then after a while, once we get that buy-in, then we're going to let them edit visualizations and then change things, because people are intimidated by technology. They're not all like super software geeks like me and the folks watching this webinar. So start small, get the buy-in, and I think you'll see longer term success with that.
And so is it really at the user level that you're seeing kind of that aha start to happen? I mean, I understand that at the board level, there's obviously has to be an initiative, right? It's almost imperative that the board in any organization is going to require some sort of a digital transformation initiative, and has. But where do you see the kind of rubber meet the road for? Is it at that kind of user level? Is that where folks say, okay, now I get it, and now I see where we're going to get that value? There's
a tipping point. You're right. Like, I mean, I've seen it happen at our company in every department. Product development moving to CI/CD, moving to new capabilities and technologies, sales moving to like a modern sales process with marketing tools linked in with sales tools where you could really track and see what was going on. And then BI, like once we started using BI at the executive level, and then you have so many smart people across your company and they start picking it up, they do things you never even thought of, right? So once they start seeing this and they're empowered, which is that graph from Deloitte, that green 82%, where if you give it to everyone, amazing things will happen. Don't hold it back. Don't give it to the few lucky ones. Give it to everyone. And I mean, even our IT director, I see things he's doing with tracking, disk space usage across hundreds of servers with Reveal. And you're like, wow, I never thought of that, the way he's looking at it, the formulas he's using. But yeah, if you empower everyone, that culture shift will happen. The digital transformation will happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have two moving parts here. You have this kind of elegant interface and presentation layer, and obviously all of the visualization that happens. But there's also the connectors that have to power all that underneath. Can you talk a little bit about how that works? Because it strikes me that none of this looks very elegant if there's no data getting ported into these dashboards. I mean, how do folks think about, how should they be thinking about, okay, where do I want to start to plug in?
The biggest lift in any digital transformation with BI is the data. So you're right on. You need to think about what data you have and how should it be reported on? So you have a lot of data in, systems of record, as Gartner calls it, where it's in our sales system, it's in our CRM system. We have Google Analytics data. All this data is there, but it's not in a good way to do reporting. So how do you think about enabling your end users to do dashboards? Well, what a lot of organizations do is they start building out APIs that deliver data, right? So I'm looking at my IT department that says, listen, we're going to make sure that there's data available to users in a way that is consumable. So they're maybe changing the way fields are labeled, doing custom queries that they know, like we know we need all the sales data and order data, and we need it by department, country, et cetera. So they're making it available on the back end. And then what Reveal does is Reveal has data connectors for like 30 back ends. It doesn't really matter what you're connecting to, maybe even 40 now. And you can pull that data in and then even do further refinement, further joins, further customization in the BI tool. So in every POC we've done, every prospect we talk to, the biggest part is how is our data going to be presented to the user, and what kind of work do we have to do to make that happen?
Yeah, and I think that's a point I really want to hang on because in the end, I think a lot of the things that get in the way of people thinking about a new solution is, well, we already have all these other solutions, and how am I going to make this all work, and how is it going to integrate with what we've already got, and is it redundant? And to a certain degree, there's always going to be, maybe a reporting redundancy. But the question really comes down to how easy you can make it. And this notion that you were just describing of, having an initiative where you start to build all these APIs, or you're trying to do these things, kind of in a DIY way internally. It's just no longer relevant, right? I mean, you guys have put so much time and effort, not only in the presentation layer and the interface, but in that back end development of APIs.
Yeah, and I think there was some crazy statistics, like 60 or 80% of corporate data, it's like dark data where it's unused. No one touches it. So think about
I bet you it's more than that.
Like, it's crazy.
But I go back a ways, and I remember in a previous life as a salesperson walking through the door at a very large store where they were capturing all this POS stuff, and they had loyalty cards working and everything, and everybody was swiping and catching all this data. And I said, so what do you do with it? And they said, nothing. We don't do anything with it. Granted, I'm older and that was a while ago, but honestly, I think part of the reason why I would encourage everybody to go out and engage with a company like Infragistics and getting to know people like Jason is because you get to see how it can work for you, and you can see how easily you can start to get value out of that initial POC, and POCs to me are, they're pain free, ultimately.
Yep. Yeah, and the great thing is with technology, we have the product team is on Discord. We have channels on Discord and servers where, you're getting real-time answers from the product team, from the actual architects and developers while you're doing your POC. Like, you run into a question, just throw it up on Discord. You're going to get an answer within minutes. And technology has really helped accelerate a lot of what in the past was like cumbersome and exhausting. Now it's amazing. Some guys like to work late at night. You're on at 10 p.m. and you're stuck. Ask a question. It may get answered within a couple minutes. It may get answered in the morning, but it's technology has really helped really facilitate and drive a lot of that POC kind of cumbersome work that we used to deal with in the past. Now POCs are pretty fun. And with Reveal, we like to do like a managed 30-day POC, start to finish. We're there with you every step of the way to help you get success in that POC to make sure Reveal's a good fit. And if it's not a good fit, that's okay too. but at least we know, and then we get that feedback. Why wasn't it a good fit? But yeah, POCs actually now are actually pretty fun.
Yeah, this is great. Jason, always a pleasure to have you as a guest.
You.
You really know your stuff, and Infragistics is really quite a nice solution to present. And again, we would encourage everybody to reach out and engage and really find out what solutions like Infragistics can do for you, help you really deal with what's happening. And believe me, standing pat or trying to do it yourself is no longer a strategy. That's a surefire way to just get mowed down. So start to talk to some of the high-end solutions, some of the more sophisticated solutions that have already proven themselves across the board for long periods of time. Infragistics is certainly one of those. So Jason, again, thanks very much for being here. We really appreciate the time. Best of luck for the rest of the year.
Thank you very much.